Tricia, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Tricia Helfer, and I am an actor and animal advocate. Yeah.
You play Sophia Wagner, a paleontologist surviving alone in the jungle for nearly a year after a dinosaur attack. How did you prep for the role?
Well, Sophia is also dealing with some PTSD, trauma, and a subsequent morphine addiction. So the film didn't really need me to delve too far into the world of paleontology. Pretty much what I need to know is on the screen and in the dialogue. So I spent most of my time, limited prep time, working on a Russian accent and working on morphine addiction and withdrawal symptoms and what that would look like and what that would manifest like, because that's more what we see in the film for my character.
Sophia is isolated for nearly a year. As Tricia, could you do this or would you crack?
Sophia she's actually isolated for a year and 7 months. And she's at the place of cracking when the Vulture Squad comes along. Myself, I'm a bit of an introvert, so I think I can go for stretches of time without seeing anybody, but I think a year and 7 months would probably do my head in. I could survive for a while. I'm a tomboy. I'm gonna say I could survive.
What was toughest about filming in the Queensland jungle?
The toughest about filming in Queensland was definitely actually the time change with North America. The crew and cast and location were awesome, and it was actually fun being in the mud, being in the jungle. Some of the spiders were a little worrisome, but I didn't see any snakes. The kangaroos were cool. Didn't get in any fist fights with any kangaroos. But the time change was hard because you really feel disconnected from friends and family and your amount of time that you can connect. And with an ailing parent and so forth, you feel really disconnected. So that was probably the hardest part.
What's the Alberta farm girl hack you still secretly use in LA?
Well, I think maybe my green thumb and gardening. I don't mind getting my hands dirty and getting out there and growing my own crops.
If you could design a fashion line inspired by the farm, what would the statement piece be?
I would bring back jorts. I love jorts. And they repurpose older jeans that you don't really want to wear anymore, I live in jorts. And I've been made fun of that, but I like them.
Your Instagram bio says mother of cats and goats. Who's bossier, your cats or your goats?
My goats are definitely bossier. My cats do it so cute that they're pretty bossy too, but they're so cute that it's just like, oh, okay, you can have what you want. One of my goats is, he's an asshole. I love him to pieces. He's a mama's boy and he loves me so much that he gets really mean to his brother Earl, food time and affection time. So he kind of demands my time and he can be very mean to Earl. So he has a squirt water bottle that's called Larry's No bottle. And he gets a squirt of water in the face whenever he's being mean to Earl.
Which is more stubborn, directors or goats?
Ooh, I would say goats are more stubborn. Directors tend to have, there's a wide range of different personalities. So I've had, it all, but most directors that I've worked with are pretty collaborative. On Primitive War, Ryan and I came head to heads with Luke on one scene that we were very adamant needed to go one way, and he was very adamant needed to go the other way. So Luke was a little hard-headed in one scene, but we won. He was great though. Afterwards, he was like, you know what, you guys were right. I was just focused on the technical aspect of the scene, and you were right to bring in the emotional element of it.
What modeling habit did you have to unlearn to act better?
Oh gosh. I think maybe walking, like if I'm walking, one of my first jobs was Battlestar Galactica, and one of the scenes is you see me walking down this long corridor to meet with the Cylons. Well, the Cylons are behind me, but to meet at the Armistice Station. And it was really hard to do that long walk in this beautiful red velvet suit without looking like I was on a runway. You get heels on and a beautiful outfit and a long walkway, and I just want to start like I'm on a runway and the hips swaying and the shoulders going. Yeah, that's probably one of the hardest to get rid of.
What's one modeling moment that you completely regret doing?
One modeling moment I completely regret doing. There was one of my first fashion shows was Chanel, and I was a brand new model, and I had a very tight skirt that went down to like the mid-calf, and they had paired me up with another girl, Beverly Johnson, and she had she had pants on or something, and we were supposed to walk at the same time, and she just took off, and I could not walk in this tiny, very tight skirt. So I would have just had the confidence now to make it my own and just go at my own pace. But instead I tried to keep up, and I ended up just looking like this all the way along, just trying to make my feet go. And yeah, I ended up just looking rather silly. So I would now have the confidence to just go, you go, I'm going at my own pace.
Which industry is more ruthless, fashion or Hollywood?
They're both pretty ruthless in their own way. I think fashion's probably more ruthless in many ways, yeah, because it's with the entertainment industry and film and television, you do bring more to it. You are more involved in the process. So I think there is a little bit more collaboration with modeling, at least back in my day. It may be different now. It was very much, you were a clothes hanger, and you were told what and where to go and do, and you weren't really allowed to have much of an opinion.
Biggest myth about sexy shoots like Maxim or Playboy?
Sexy shoots? Oh, I thought you said shoes for a second. I was like, well, they just hurt your feet. They're good if you're lying down, and but didn't need to go there. Sexy shoots, they're not sexy at all. Either if you're doing a sex scene, there's a lot of people in the room. There's a lot of people watching. Sexy shoots, you're mostly concerned that your stomach's not sticking out, you're not bloated, or something's not. They're more technical than sexy. There's really nothing sexy about them.
You've voiced characters in StarCraft, Mass Effect, and in Lucifer. What's more fun, playing a badass or voicing one?
I love the fact that I can do both. I do prefer on-camera work because I prefer working off the other actors. When you're doing strictly voiceover, you're in a recording booth by yourself. I was just doing voiceover on Monday for half a day before my premiere, which is why I still sound like husky and like I've smoked a pack of cigarettes this morning, because I was doing a lot of vocal work for a video game I'm filming now, actually a performance capture video game. I had one voiceover section for it on Monday. But I love them both. But I think on camera is preferable, because then you get that instant feedback with the other actor and with the crews around you of if it went well, or in each scene, each take can alter slightly because of what the other actor is giving you. And in voiceover, you're just reading your lines, and maybe the voice director will read you in on a line or something, but it's a lot more isolating.
Is there a line you've had to deliver that made you go, absolutely not?
There's been a few over the years, but there's one in Primitive War, actually, with the Russian accent that was just really hard for me to say. And I can't even remember. It's strictly research. is all I had to say. I had to say a line that ends in strictly research, and that is really hard to do with a very recently learned Russian accent, because the R's, you're rolling the R's, and it's like you're just done rolling one R when the next word starts with an R. And even when I was watching it, I'm pretty proud of myself. I think I pulled it off, but that one line, I'm like, that didn't come out right. So that's in my head right now, and it's gonna haunt me for nights to come, I think.
What's the most ridiculous thing someone has said to you on a red carpet?
Ridiculous thing. On a red carpet, oh gosh. I can't think of anything right now. I still remember one comment somebody made to me somewhere that said I had chiclet teeth. I was like, I don't know really what that means. They're white? They're big? I don't have big teeth. I don't know, but that sticks out, but that wasn't on a red carpet.
Wildest fan encounter that still cracks you up?
Oh, okay, there's two. One I've told before, but it was so sweet. I was in Vancouver filming, and it was between seasons on Battlestar Galactica, but I was filming a movie with Billy Zane and Dennis Hopper and Anne Margaret. And I had my hair like almost black. It was dark brown. And I had a Battlestar Galactica jacket on, a crew jacket that we gave the crew after the first season. And I was in the pet store buying pet food. And this guy goes, "Oh, that's an awesome jacket. Do you work on the crew?" And I went, yeah, I work on the show. He's like, "Oh, that's awesome." And then he left, and he turns around, and he comes back, and he looks at me. And he goes, "Are you number 6?" And I went, "Yeah." And he turned around and ran out of the store and never came back. I'm like, I mean, you could have talked. We were chatting. You could have. But he was terrified that I guess I was going to break his neck or something. I'm not quite sure. But there was that one, and that kind of equals with, I was at a Lucifer convention, fan convention, and doing photo ops. And this lovely lady, I could see her coming up, and we get in position. I'm like, "Hi." I'm like, "Ooh, she just went white." And I'm like, "Yeah, she's passing out." And I just kind of guided her down to the ground. I'm like, "Okay, can we get some help over here?" But I'm glad I could sense it coming and I could help her to the ground as opposed to her just going.
Any roles you turn down that still haunt you?
Not really. I've turned down some roles that I think I'm glad I turned down. I have yet to get offered a really great role that I turned down and then hate myself for it later.
On that cross-country charity ride, what was your most delirious moment?
Oh gosh, yeah, the ride I did, the La La ride, LA to Louisiana with Katie Sackhoff. There was one day when we were going through that there was tornado winds, and we had to stop at a Subway and a gas station and really try and reroute ourselves because there was no way we're gonna go through. And this was 8 months after I had had 4 artificial discs implanted into my neck and my lower back. So this was my first big kind of physical test. And I got very scared and very dark. I started envisioning like falling off and slicing open and ruining the discs, and I went really dark. And Katie talked me through that, but we sat there for 3 hours and rerouted ourselves, and it turned into be like a 500-mile day, which is a big day on a bike, especially with winds. But we missed the tornado part, but got some pretty crazy winds. But that was probably my most difficult part of that trip was overcoming the mental aspect of the terror, the physical hurt.
Which stereotype did you love blowing up on screen?
The physical stereotype. I think people, I think especially because I came from a modeling background, people thought I could just, walk by and say something and, be that type of an actor. I mean, everybody walks by and says something in acting, but I think the fact that I'm a tomboy and I could do my own stunts and Like on Killer Women, I was racing cars, and I was riding the motorbike, and all of that on Killer Women was me, aside from the odd thing. And I think that was a stereotype that for me was fun to break. Because they're expecting, oh, just this model, and instead I'm like a farm girl that's gonna get right into the action.
When they want seductive, how do you make it powerful, not cliche?
I think with an intention and an intelligence of the character. Because there's all different levels of seduction. But I think if it's coming from a knowing angle with an intention, as opposed to just pay attention to me, if you're trying to get what you want, as opposed to be noticed, that's more interesting to me.
What's your hidden talent?
My hidden talent? I don't really have any talents. I'm really good at keeping animals. I'm really good at rescuing cats. I think I have double jointed fingers. I can do that. I don't know. I can't sing. I can't like wiggle my ears. Yeah, I can wield a chainsaw. Yeah, maybe that.
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure is oh my gosh, this should be an easy answer. Guilty pleasure, I do love these vegan gummy bears. I mean, that's just eating, but they're good. I can eat handfuls and handfuls of them.
Pettiest note you've ever gave wardrobe, hair, or props?
Props, it's not really a petty note. It seems petty to begin with, but then they learn to love it. I'm very OCD, so I love handling my own props myself. So when I finish a scene, I want to work backwards and put the props back in their place, because it helps me become more like it's second nature. This is where the props are and that type of thing. Yeah, but at the first they're like, would you just let us do our job? And I'm like, yeah, but this helps me. Just let me put it back in place. I like resetting the props, and I like doing all that. Or if I'm handling a gun, I'm like, can I have the real gun, not the, I know this is controversial, but if you're not shooting it. You know, I did an episode of Criminal Minds, and I was robbing a bank, and for 2 episodes, I'm holding people up. I'm not actually shooting anything. But the weight of a gun is so much different than this, you know, you treat it differently. It's just plastic, and you just don't, the weight of a gun, you hold it properly. And I made them give me a real gun so that I could do it without having to imagine the weight all the time. But that's not really petty. That's just more demanding, I guess.
Who gave you the best career advice, and who gave you the worst?
I can't remember who it was, but somebody expected me to just be able to, like, just do what I want and not be respectful. And that's so, it goes against my own thoughts anyway. But, and I don't know if it was somebody, I think it was Samuel L. Jackson that I actually saw a note from. I never worked with him, but he said, you know, be nice to everybody, because you'd never know when the PA is gonna be in the producer role on another film. And to me, that was, again, normal, natural. I actually had a girl when I was filming Charlie's Angels, the unauthorized story of Charlie's Angels, an MOW for NBC years ago. There was a girl, and I was playing Farrah Fawcett, and she came up to me, and she was coming in just for the day. And she looked at me, she goes, you know, I've been watching you all day, and you've made me realize I can be nice to the crew. And I was so flabbergasted. I went, why wouldn't you be nice to the crew? We're a team. This is a team effort. We all look out for each other, and this is all getting made because we're all doing it. And that just was amazing. But I think biggest career advice came from Edward James Olmos and Mary McDonnell on Battlestar Galactica. and just seeing them. And it wasn't necessarily vocal advice that they gave me, it was just by watching them work. And they'd been in the business for years, had Oscar nominees, Emmy nominees, and their passion and their dedication to their craft was as strong then as I imagine it was when they started. And that to me was a big lesson to learn of just always finding at the core, it's about being passionate about the job.
What's one off-camera moment while shooting that will stick with you forever?
This one, Michael's gonna kill me for saying it too, but there's so many moments, but this one just popped into my head. When I was shooting Killer Women, actually I'm gonna change that because he might get mad at me. Also shooting Killer Women, I was doing this stunt where I was driving a car down Congress, and I had to do a 180 because I hear the perps going the other direction. So I'm driving down, of course we've blocked off the street and have stunt cars, and I'm driving and I get to do a 180 in the middle of Congress Ave in Austin, and then 90 around a corner, and we're driving and I have to go off a side road onto the on-ramp onto a freeway, and going over the grass and the median and up the hill, and I'm bouncing all over, and I'm doing all the driving and chasing this car right behind a follow car with a camera hanging off of it. And it was just the most thrilling, so much fun. And of course I trained for it. And the stunt coordinator's lying in the back, it was a Chevy Tahoe, so he's lying in the back of this SUV, flying all over the place and just laughing up a storm. All I hear is the stunt coordinator just giggling in the back of the Tahoe as I'm doing the stunt, and it was so much fun. That will stick with me forever.
What clip do you hope ends your career montage?
I don't think I've done it yet. I've got a lot left in me, and I don't think I've done it yet.
Okay, we have a game for you.
Okay, game time.
Tricia or Sophia? Who's more likely to throw a hot dog at someone? To join a cult by accident? To start a cult by accident? Win a bar fight? Survive 3 days with only wine and cheese?
Oh, that'd be easy for me. I think Sophia could do it too, but that'd be easy for me.
Say yes to a dare way too fast?
She's a scientist. She's more methodical. Yeah.
Smuggle a kitten home in their bag?
Oh. I already have a gazillion, so.
To laugh during a completely inappropriate moment?
That's me for sure. I've done that. It's not fun.
To accidentally go viral for something embarrassing? To give a TED Talk on absolutely nothing?
She'd be better at that.
To lose their phone while holding it? To break something and try to hide it? To break up over text?
I mean, she didn't have text back in the Vietnam War, so I'm going with it. I wouldn't do it either, but she wouldn't have the ability to.
To streak at a sporting event?
Depending on how close to the wine and cheese marathon.
To become president? And our last big question, what's your rating of the sit?
10 out of 10. What the hell? Of course, right after I say 10 out of 10? Come on, guys. Really? You couldn't have done this beforehand? 2 out of 10. Can I retake that?